And now, I'm Preethi Srinivasan. I'm a quadriplegic, right? So, if you are going to take a few seconds to applaud to just encourage me to start. That'll be really great. That increases the blood circulation in your body and keeps you going for the next few minutes so that you don't fall back to sleep. So that's another thing I cannot do. But here's a challenge I have for you. What if I asked you to take your tongue and touch your nose with it? I can do it. How many of you can? Please try it out and lift your hand if you can. 1, 2, 3. Okay. About less than 10 people in a group of around more than 100. Does that mean the rest of you are disabled? Handicapped? Let's say, the tongue is the strongest muscle in the body, and if I have the strongest tongue here, am I the strongest person here? Am I the bodybuilder in the crowd? Yes? So what is disability then? We have to think about it, right? If we wear glasses, are we disabled? It's just a matter of degree, right? I just need a few little extra things, and that's about it. So, what happens though when we think about the world we live in, the society we live in? We always think that society is somewhere else and I'm somewhere else, right? All of us. Is there anyone who has not felt excluded at any point? Is there anyone here who has not felt left out? Who has not felt that injustice has happened to them? Anyone who has faced injustice? Who has faced corruption? Who's felt like they've been left out in the group? Yes? Who has felt less than on some level? Even in our family, even with our friends, you can't do this, you're left out. If you're better than everyone else, you're left out, right? But we all say we want to change society, but then who's going to do that, right? Who's going to be that change? We never think about that. Let me start with a story. We had a beautiful golden Labrador retriever. His name is Toby. Okay? And he's such a sweetheart. He was only 9 months old when my father passed away. And after that, there was nobody to take him out. And every chance we would get, he would run out of the gate. And somebody would have to go running behind him to get him back home, right? But then I thought about it. Why is he running away? Because there's nobody there to take him for his exercise that my father used to give it. He was mine now. So it's my responsibility. So we would tie his leash around my armrest, and I would take him for about 45 minutes every day for a 2-3 kilometer run around Tiruvannamalai where I live. And you know what? Everybody was very excited to see us running around. You know what they said? Wow, this is such an amazing dog. He's taking you running every day. Well, in truth, if he was taking me running, I would be in some ditch in the corner, the smelliest part of that street, because that's where he would go, right? But that's the thing. If you're in a wheelchair, people automatically assume you can't do anything. Why should it be that way? Right? So I'm here to say that I'm the power of one. I'm the face and voice of this invisible segment of society, and I'm here to just show you not as an egotistical list of accomplishments or something like that, but a really humble, objective experience of what has happened through my life, to say that given the opportunities, what we can do. I think we would all agree today that we live in very, very isolated kind of world. Is it not? We live like little islands rather than as one community. The basis of this, whether it is on a micro level, on an individual level, or on a national level, is that very early on, very primitively, when you are 1 or 2 or 3, we are given this conditioning that somehow I am different from you and my needs are more important than yours. Today, he'll be told that, what did your friend get? And if he got 90, they'll say, what did you do? Why did you eat up the 10 marks? That I should have more than the other. We know this, we have seen this in a national level as well. Every country wants to say that I'll store my petrol and my fuel and use up everyone else's, right? And that is our conditioning. I will keep on accumulating so that I have more than you. And how can you do that? How do I know that I have more than you? I'll have to compare. One slide back, please. I'll have to compare. I have to know what you have so that I can have more than you. So automatically what that comparison causes is competition. I have to compete with you. I have to have more than you. Right? I have to somehow even destroy what you have or take away what you have, which we have seen in history, throughout history, to have more than you. And when that competition causes conflict, you have war, right? We have to compete. We have to have more than the other. We have to be better than the other. We have to somehow be the only one with the most of things. And how to do that? If I have to control everything, then there won't be conflict, right? If I can control the neighboring countries, then they won't go to war with me. So how can I do that? I can do that financially. I can do that through, by giving them weapons. I can do a lot of things. But amidst us, between people, check out your fellow students, check out your, friends, so-called friends. What do they do? I always, as a kid, we used to play cricket on the streets. And there would be one kid who owns the bat and the ball. Right? And he would always want to bat. And if we say he'll get out for the 3rd time and we'll say enough, now you don't get to bat, he'll say, it's my bat, I'm taking it home. Right? We have all faced that. Control. Control is the name of the game. Control the numbers. Control. But what if we don't do that? What if, like Bhutan, we decide to give back? What if we decide to understand that we are all one? That the power of one is actually in our oneness. Because if we are trying to beat down the other, then we cannot grow. We can only grow with others. And that's what I think is truly the power of one. So let me go back, because this conditioning I have also received. By the age of 8, I became the first and youngest girl to play for the Tamil Nadu senior women's cricket team. I was a national level swimmer. This is just a story. I was a national level swimmer. I was in the top 2 percentile in the academics. I was all that. I thought I was a star. I thought I deserved everything I got. And then I went for a college excursion and I fell into about 2.5 feet of water. As soon as my face went underwater, I felt like a shock like sensation travel through my body, and then I couldn't move. I mean, think about it. I've been swimming since the age of 3. I know how to fall into water. But I never woke up. I never got up again. My friends pulled me out. I had suffered a C4, C5 level, cervical level, spinal cord injury. I became paralyzed below the neck. From being the hero, the star, I became zero, the invisible one. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with me. And I didn't understand what this society was all about. Because I was the same. And these people who saw me like something to be admired, saw me like something I was supposed to be pitied. I was the same warrior, the same achiever inside, but they didn't want to have anything to do with me. So when people saw me, I would get panic attacks. I would not be able to breathe. I stayed inside the house for about 2 years because I didn't want to have anything to do with this society. It was my parents' love, my parents' unconditional love, who said, "We value you. You are the same precious child you were." They gave me that love to transform myself, to come out. My father would say, "Why are you so worried about this body? This body is nothing. Everybody's body is going to go. Everybody's body mind is limited. So go within. Find that within you that is not limited, that cannot be touched by changing circumstances. Find yourself. Something that is eternal, that is true, that is beyond birth, beyond death." So I did. And guess what? The girl who used to get panic attacks when 1 or 2 people came became a public speaker. That was just the beginning. I tried to join college. I tried to join psychology because I was interested in the way the mind works, right? I was told that there are 15 days of practical classes, no lifts, no ramps, don't join. So this girl, who was supposed to be in the top 2 percentile of the American student population, who could have gone to Yale or Princeton or Harvard, anyone, was told that she cannot get admitted into a correspondence, a long distance study program in India. This is the truth of our society. So I fought it. And today there is a working ramp in the ID building of Madras University. And when I went for the practical classes, all those students who studied with me, walked up the ramp just as easily as anyone else. People who can walk up ramps. So why do we need staircases again? I'd like to know. Just because I'm unable to walk, it might be something any of you might have to face at some point in the future. Does it mean I cannot go to a movie theater? I cannot. Does it mean I cannot go into a restaurant? My friends have to carry me like the joker in a circus. I cannot go anywhere. I think we deserve better. I think we need to create an inclusive society that's wheelchair accessible, that is truly inclusive in terms of providing good education, that can provide employment, entrepreneurship, reintegration into society after any serious condition. But this was just a dream. How can we make it happen? I'm just one person, right? I'm nobody. I have no education. I did end up studying MSc psychology, which was a pretty good achievement for me given what I had to go through. But the real achievement is that the next time anybody in a wheelchair has to do that, they can. It was a precedent. So then what? After these panic attacks, after what my father told me, after 2 near-death experiences, I started mouth painting. Something within me started healing. These are a few of the examples of my mouth painting. I live in this beautiful spiritual temple town called Tiruvannamalai, and there are a lot of Westerners there. So I started teaching spoken English and spoken Tamil to them. I started teaching them numbers in Tamil, whatever I could. I was giving back. I was coming back into society. Then I started getting invitations to come to schools, to colleges, to corporate houses. I've spoken to the top management of some of the biggest companies. And I asked them, what is it that you're living for? You're working 12 to 16 hours a day and I can't buy a smile from you? Guys, smile, it's free. So I have the one thing of all the achievements that I'm proud of is that whenever I walk into the room, I'm able to say I'm the happiest person here. I'm happy. I'm happy here and now. I don't need anything for that to happen. I don't need to earn so much. I don't need to have certain husband. I don't need my children to get into certain school. I don't need anything. I'm happy here and now. I've lost everything there has to lose, so-called, whatever society says, you can lose this. So what if you lose that? Everything I've lost. And I know that there's nothing to lose at all. I only lost my illusions. And I can be totally free. In living in a wheelchair, I learned to be fully alive in the here and now, to be fully free. In dying, I've conquered death. Apparently, the worst 2 fears that people have are public speaking and death. Oh, I can say I've been there, done that to both. So, what do I have to be afraid of? So, I can live this life truly, authentically, truly in service of a greater purpose. Next slide. And when I started to do that, lot of things came my way. But before I knew I was ready to do all this, my father, who was the rock of my existence, suddenly passed away overnight. He was only 57 years old, apparently in good health, and he passed away. 4 days later, my mother had a heart attack. There was nobody to take care of me. We had no income. We had nothing. I started using a speech-activated software, and now I'm employed. I work full-time as a writer for a movie-based website. And I can challenge any of you that I can type faster than you. So I get, after spending a dozen years of my life in complete isolation, imagine this, I was 18 when I had my accident. Then at about 28, I suddenly had to become the decision maker of the house. I suddenly had to become the breadwinner, and I was still a quadriplegic. We didn't know what was in the bank. We didn't know who would sit me up in the wheelchair. We didn't know anything. Even now, my mother finds it difficult to sign a check properly. So I had to do that. And when she needed bypass, the thing that came up was my father's friends came up to me and said, what if there comes a time When your family can't care for you, when your mother can't care for you. For once I had no answer. I can't imagine my existence without my mother. But when in doubt, what do we do these days? We Google it, right? So I Googled it and I found that in this country that's 1 billion strong, 1 billion strong, 43% of that is the women's vote. We are 1/5 of the world's population. There is not one long-term rehabilitation center for a girl in my condition. At least I can call myself a girl. Right? Not one long-term rehabilitation center. Forget long-term, not even short-term. There are about 3 in the whole country for persons with spinal cord injury. One for in Pune. That's a permanent one. You can go and live there. But that's only for people from the services. If you were injured while you were serving the nation in the Air Force or Army, then you can go there. There's another one in Tamil Nadu that does not accept women. And another small one that I know of, a couple of ones, one in Chandigarh and one in Coimbatore, they have only 15 beds each. But guess what? Spinal cord injury, the statistics are that one happens every 38 minutes. 38 minutes. It's not a rare condition. It can happen to anyone at any time. And there's no cure for it. It causes permanent paralysis below the level of injury. And there is not even one long-term rehab center. So when I was told this, my mother said, you be the change. You be the power of one. You change the world. And I said, Ma, are you mad? I don't know anything about running an organization. The moment there are some numbers, I go to sleep. My brain shuts down. And I don't know anything about the law. So how am I going to do this? I can't run an organization. But then, when I went back to Tiruvannamalai, within a 2-month span of time, 2 girls I personally knew, paraplegic girls, were forced to commit suicide by their own families. They were told, you're a shame on us, you're a burden. Because you are there, nobody is willing to marry your brother. We are being ostracized in the society, so you die. Poison was left next to them, they drank it and died. Be part of the problem, not part of the solution. I decided at that moment that life is not about all the things you cannot do. There are a lot of things I cannot do. It's not about all the things you cannot do. It's about what you choose to do with what you can do. Right? Many of you are more educated. You're walking, you're fit, you can do so much more than I can. But I felt I had no other choice but to start Soulfree. Soulfree is a public charitable trust that is spreading awareness about spinal cord injury in India, that is trying its best to rehabilitate persons with spinal cord injury back into society. We're trying to give them wheelchairs. We're trying to mobilize them. We're trying to give them that faith that they are not a shame and a burden. They have value just like everyone else. We're trying to ensure that they get an education. We're trying to ensure that India becomes more and more inclusive, more and more sensitized. We're setting up independent living programs so that if they can earn an income, they should. Because the bottom line is the bottom line, right? If you have money in your pocket, nobody treats you like shit. I'm trying to be the change. I'm trying to be the power of one. Because I believe that we are all one. Unless we come together, we cannot change society. We are society. So what can you do for me? The next time you choose to wear a helmet, You are the power of one. The next time your friends go out drinking and you decide to be the designated driver, you are the power of one. The next time you meet a person in a wheelchair and you decide to sit next to them, make eye contact and talk to them, you are the power of one. If you befriend us, give us jobs, give us education, I promise you, we will not fail you because we don't take anything for granted. We will value, we will work twice as hard as everyone else because we want to prove ourselves. The only real disability is a closed mind. We are not that. We are willing to fight if you will just let us. If we can have the infrastructure. And all of you can help us in being the change just by changing the way you think. Just by deciding from tomorrow I'm not going to compete. If I'm going to compete, I'm going to compete only with myself. In every other sense, I'm going to cooperate. Cooperate with this world. Cooperate with the guy next to me. I just want to conclude with one beautiful story that's really touched my heart. One of the world's leading anthropologists went to this little village in the middle of nowhere in Africa where they don't have food to eat, where there is no education, and he decided that he would give them a competition. So what did he do? He decided that he would give them a bag full of fresh fruit, a basket full of fresh fruit. He got together some children from the age of 8 to 16 and he said, you have to run from this end to that end, from this tree to that tree. So in India, had he run this competition, the children would have pushed each other down to get there first. Right? But these kids, without any form of education, they held hands and they just walked together to the end line. All together. All the power of one and the power of oneness. He got very angry with them. He said, don't you understand what the power, what a race is? Don't you understand what competition is? You were all, one of you was going to get this entire basket of fruit. And they said, if one of us got this entire basket of fruit and ate it, we would only get diarrhea. So what's the point? If everyone around me is sad, how can I be happy? It's a basic concept that we are taught in our village and it's called Ubuntu. Everyone near me needs to be happy. Everyone near me needs to grow. Everyone near me needs upliftment if our society is going to be uplifted. So can we all think about what we can do to be the power of one? If we see an accident, can we stop and help? And not just think about, oh, why the hell should I dirty my shirt? How did we get like this? My motto in life is to just spread love, light and laughter in this world. So simple. Can we do that? Can we hug one person every day? At the end of this talk, I'll offer all of you free hugs. So much energy, so beautiful. Such a simple, happy life we can lead. Why are we complicating it so much? If we can all be the power of one, I'm sure India will become the #1 country in the world very soon because we have so much power automatically. And then we can join beautiful Bhutan the way it was. In becoming carbon neutral, we can think about our environment, we can think about our education, we can think about so many things. But we need to be united for that. We need to be the power of one. Will you join me? Thank you.